good morning, and welcome to Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. You are with me and my amazing co-host or co-host, and today is our Facing the Lion challenge. What are we going to talk about? I love Fridays. I love the fact that Friday is our ability to be able to chime in. By the way, lines are open 1-888-721-9260. You may call in at any time. We are being faced with calming down. Calming down and not losing yet. We are facing challenges of being able to do just that, not losing our cool. So our podcast today is staying calm while not losing my cool. How do we do it? Let's get into it today because I think that's important. Every family at work, every child somewhere around us, close, nearby, are facing these challenges because there's bullying, there are people that don't think with a full mindset. And that's what we're all about, thinking with a complete mindset. What do we need to do? When we think about not losing our cool, how many of us, let me ask you the important question, how many of us have lost it at one time or another?
I have.
Good morning, Trish. You want to tell us about it?
Good morning, and yes, I'll tell you guys about it. Um, there's a particular time that I was angry at my sibling. I think this was like 2 days ago, and I asked her to do something for me because I really needed help. I was overwhelmed, so I was like, "Can you just do that one thing for me? That's all I'm asking you to do." And then she's like, why do I have to do it? Like, you're right there. You could do it. And so that right there, it just made me very, very upset. I lost it. Like, I really lost it. And I had to step back. I stopped myself and I went to my mom. I was like, Mom, like, she's not listening to me. And I'm telling you, because if I talk to her, it's going to be a problem. So I said, Mom, I'm leaving her to you. So that was the last time I lost my cool.
Okay. And don't forget, guys, our number for you to call in, it's ready for you, 1-888-721-9260. Excuse me. Speak up, speak out. This is your time to take the challenge. We do this on Fridays. And if you want to see more of taking the challenge or finally Fridays being able to challenge yourself, just go to our YouTube page. Trish puts the information in every podcast. Trish, thank you so much for doing that. And it's all organized so beautifully. I promise you, it's a beautiful website. And you can click on Finally. So today we're going to challenge ourselves first, recognizing how to avoid these things. Remember, we don't tell you what to do. We just leave you with resolution, insight, and to challenge yourself. We are being triggered by so much. I mean, just to breathe the air can trigger so many people. With so many things going on today, we are triggered. And there's so many things, and we want to tell you about that. The Relaxation Center does that. It helps you to be able to calm down. You can spend an hour, you can spend 45 minutes, and it's at the Healing Center. The Healing Center is also known as the Vibe Talk Healing Center because there's a lot of healing centers, but we're talking about the Vibe Talk Healing Center. What we want you to know is the experience of having that relaxation center to help you to do so is available to you by either walking in, making an appointment, and or video. But I think you'd experience it if you were, okay, to come in. For all you locals, we are in Palmdale, California, extending our branches very soon. So when we think about different circumstances, different situations that we're faced with every day, how do we not lose our cool, right? You know, back in the day when we were school aged, did you ever want to be cool? Did you ever want to be the coolest kid? And it's okay to admit it. Even if you were the coolest kid, how did you feel? Today we're going to talk about the inner coolness of ourselves in checking our emotions. Why do we need to do so? Because there's so many things going on. If you watch the news, people are losing their cool. And just here lately, people are taking it out on our babies, the little ones. You know, for our Finally Friday, I always have a true story, a few of them. Today, one sounds like this. In Los Angeles, California, somewhere in Los Angeles, they were looking for a 5-year-old who turned up missing. They found him. Do you know where he was? They found him in the garbage can. Wow. Can things get any worse? There is a need for us to gain self-control. Why did this happen? That's what I wondered as I read that headline. Why? What could a 5-year-old have possibly done to anyone? Well, as the story began to unfold and I found out what happened, according to the media, the mother's boyfriend lost his cool, being upset with the mother. So he took it out on that 5-year-old. That's just one scenario where we lose control. Just recently, I was in a car. I was in my car, minding my own business, and I was waiting for a client, and I was listening to my music, not bothering anybody. And I had to be challenged with not losing my cool. Because every day is going to present to you something that is going to challenge your coolness. Remember the cool kid? The cool kid had to keep it up, right? So we've got to keep up our inner coolness. What happened? As I sat parked, chilling out with my music, right? There was a woman who had parked next to me and started to say something, and I knew she was talking to me, but I wasn't quite sure of what she said. Non-confrontationally, I didn't know what she was saying, but as she began to speak, she was complaining that I was parked crooked in my own lane. Not touching her lane, not in her lane. You get this? Really, when we think about it, folks, we hear the saying to stay in your lane. I was really in my lane. So she complained about that. When you hear someone's voice or someone being triggered, do you recognize it? See, because if I hadn't have thought about keeping my cool, I would not be here to tell you about the challenge that I had to take. We have to be up for the challenge and not losing our cool. As I waited in my car, I knew that I was nowhere near that lady. It was not her concern. And I don't know why she was in my business because I was nowhere near her, not even close enough where two cars would be touching. What I began to know is that there are just people who can make you lose it. Lose the calmness that you are trying to work on, that very thing that you're trying to do. I recognize this. Somewhere, somehow, it wasn't about me being parked crooked in my own lane. Something triggered her. Come a little closer. I said something triggered her. Do we understand how to respond when we're being challenged as to our own calmness? Or do you always say, oh, I'm a calm person? How many of you have ever said that? I'm a calm, laid back person.
I have.
And, and how has that been for you, Trish?
Um, to be honest, I'm gonna be honest, like I say that, but honestly, it for me, I'm trying to keep calm most of the time. Like I'm not a very calm person because I'm an overthinker. I get anxious and everything like makes me anxious. So for me to like actually be calm, I have to take some time, but I'm not automatically calm. It's not an automatic what do you call it? A factor within me yet.
Challenges, thank you for that. Challenges arise among all of us. And if you are a calm person. Everyone needs a cool down. You know, everyone really needs that. It's called self-caring, learning to manage. Because see, what gets involved is your stresses and your emotional well-being. What would have been the result had I lost it? Lost my cool. Keep calm and stay cool is our topic. Found an even better one. So, do we think about that? Do we think about our well being? Because so many people are, and my son and I talk about this all the time. Don't be quick to want to fight. Don't be quick to take others personally. Because we are all just trying to manage our own well-beings, and we are challenged each and every day, which is why we developed here at Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast the Friday challenge. Finally Friday. Because you're thinking about all the things that you've had to deal with, maybe just this week alone. Maybe it was a great week. Maybe you've had an amazing week. Maybe you didn't have a great Monday. And you kind of rode a roller coaster up and down, sideways, upside down. Maybe that's been your week. And you have been challenged because now you need to find out, what do I do about it? How do I take care of me? Remember how I said about the lady that was trying to make me lose my cool? Now I want to restate it. Was she trying to make me lose my cool, or was I going to allow space for her to do that? Because I've never seen that lady in my life. And you know what the sobering thought is? I may never see that lady again. But my response kicked in. But this time, my response was, wow, maybe she's dealing with something. And so I'm going to be the person that she's going to lash out. Do you think that by my response that she was impacted? Only she can tell you that. Because most people may not have responded that way. People love to incite. They love to be in the middle of what is not cool. And maybe she saw that as a challenge of, wow, that lady stayed calm and I was so upset. But did I know what she had dealt with? What if I were disposed to fight, to be angry, to be triggered? It may not have been a well day for either one. You see, ladies and gentlemen, to recognize that we are being triggered. You notice that I put the accountability and the responsibility back on your shoulders. To notice that you are being triggered. That is yours. The understanding of your triggers, learning how to challenge or be challenged. What do you do? Now that I've told you, or now that we're talking, excuse me, now that we're talking about it, what is your plan? How will you respond? You've heard that our podcast is Keep Calm and Stay Cool. Have we put into practice our amazing ability to do this? Notice the active word is plan, how you will respond. You know, and if you're quick to anger, maybe it's a good thing to think about all your energy of anger. Like Trish said, uh, when dealing with her siblings, when something had happened that she asked her mother to handle it, that was a good strategy, especially for you young people that have been through so much or being challenged with just having to be young adults. I think that's a good plan. How many of us practice deep breathing? We have not, as an audience, done that, and I want you to take a few minutes. But before we do our exercise, I want you to think about the last time that you were challenged. Come a little closer. I want you to think about the last time that you were challenged. And we're going to stay here for just a moment until you get it all in your head, and I want you to chew on it. Okay? Pretend like you are chewing something, and you're chewing a piece of steak or something that you really like. And until you get it in your head, that thing that you were upset about, that thing that made you lose your cool, I want you to breathe in. Now, I asked you to do two things. One was to remember that you were chewing on something, and at the same time, taking a deep breath in and breathe out slowly. Now, let me ask you a question. How many of you breathe in and out while still chewing? Or how hard was it for you to do that at the same time? Trish, what's your take?
I would say it was pretty hard to do it at the same time. Like the focus, I tried to do it at the same time, but it's like I realized when I breathe in, it like the chewing slows down and then
Mm.
stop. And then when you breathe out, it's like, okay, now I can start chewing again. So that's how
Okay.
it was.
Yeah. And that's the point. How many times have we chewed over something or rethought, spit it out, retake it like we're cows and nobody's a cow, but you know what that's called? Chewing the cud. Because cows do that. And we think that's disgusting if we saw somebody chew, then spit something out, then take it and re-chew. That is what we're doing with our energy. And did you notice that Trisha's experience, because mine was the same, I found that I couldn't both chew and think about the last time somebody made me lose my cool. It had to be one or the other. Now, some of you might have felt differently, but try that. Challenge yourself to try that exercise, because what it shows you is that your energy, your flow of energy, when you're doing that, it takes more time for you to breathe. Remember what Trish said? You start slowing down, because that's exactly what happened to me. Try that experience. And if you've been chewing the cud, so to speak, over and over and chewing on the thought of somebody made me angry. Oh, I'm so angry. I'm so angry that I can just hit something or someone. And people have done just that. I want you to really give it some. What is your response as to your plan? Think about where things take you mentally. It took focus to breathe. So in our world, what we do, instead of thinking about or having the mindset for we chew over and over, having no plans other than I'm just angry. I'm so angry about it. And we lose our cool. Think about it. When we do something, okay, I want you to think about this acronym and write it down if you want. HALT. Halt. When you halt, what am I asking you to do? What does that mean when someone says halt?
Stop.
What is it? Stop. When we stop something, we're able to think about calmly. Calmly. Remember the acronym for HALT, because what you're really doing is thinking about the emotion, keeping yourself in check. Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. That's the acronym for HALT. I'm going to say it one more time. Come closer. Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Just in the moments that I have said that, the word halt, our brain shifted to stop. One moment. Let me breathe. Let me think. Let's think about this. Because so many people run into action and they lose it, resulting in injury to themselves or others. When all they had to do was check their emotion or reach out to someone before something happens. HALT. HALT. The acronym are feelings, actually. Emotions. How am I feeling? Am I hungry? Am I angry? Am I lonely? Am I tired? halt, calm, and don't lose your relaxation. Our relaxation center features where you are focused on your breathing. You are able to experience what it's like to be calm. Because believe me, there are many of people who go around and don't know how to do deep breathing, don't know when to think about mindfulness. Let's think about this if we can visualize. The healing center is about deep breathing. Excuse me. I want you guys to try it one more time. Breathe in and out. Because if I ask you, did you do the exercise, you're going to tell me, yeah, I was breathing. But no, I ask you, did you deeply breathe? Where you can actually feel it from your inward parts of your chest, your diaphragm. And I want to add a keynote to this diaphragm. Many, many artists, musicians, people who sing, when you hear them sing, that is exactly what they're doing. They, especially the greatest singers, they're singing from the deep parts of that diaphragm. So I want you to think about the singer that you like. I have one in mind that I'm thinking right now. And you say, wow, they sing so good. They really sing with meaning. I understand the song. There's a couple for me. So I want you to think about not just, I'm breathing, Miss Nisi. How else would I be alive? Deeply breathing. When we practice and think about things for a few moments, we talk about the healing center and that the healing center helps you to think. Maybe before you came to the relaxation center, there in our healing center, you may have been really upset with somebody, or you may have really been triggered by something. But in those few minutes, you're going to think about your breathing because you got headphones on. You're going to think about, wow, I'm in a peaceful place. There's a song, we just used it the other day. I love that song. May you be aware of your emotions and how you respond to them. May you put some thought into your mindfulness and relaxation. Because you see, when we're triggered and we lose our cool, that's a lot of muscle. Where do you think it affects us first? We're no doctors, but if you've ever lost your cool, what has been affected? Does anyone know? Or does anyone want to guess? Lines are open, ladies and gentlemen. What do you think is affected first? Go back to the last time you were upset. Someone made you lose your cool. How did you feel after you lost it? You felt tired? Did you feel like your chest started hurting, or your chest was running, or your heart was going to race itself right out of its sockets? Get a headache? Usually it's my heart when I have lost it. Think about that. And the pressure that you put on your heart. And I can tell you without being a scientist, of which I'm not, and I'm only a certified life coach, counselor, no doctor. Think about your muscles, your heart, your brain, and how it's all being affected. Because you see, when you lost it, there's an emotion that I can think of. You all know what it is. That's right, anger. That's associated with anger. And that's why we have the healing center. I want you to think about something. And this time, as you breathe, I want you to slow your pace. Close your eyes for a moment. I want you to imagine yourself at a peaceful and calming place, wherever that might be for you. And here's the key. If you can't think of a peaceful or calming place, then you've just discovered something about that calming down. Only you can put it in the blank. Because you see, you're visualizing as you're breathing about a calming scene. Will help you in a matter of minutes to not stress, to not have the anxiety that we challenged ourselves with day to day. For those moments, your heart is beginning to adapt to the calming places. How many times in your childhood, when your parents lose it, have you heard them say, go to your room right now? Did that scare you? Anybody ever had their parents do that?
I have.
Yeah. Can you count the times they've done it?
Nope.
Yeah. I can almost see it. When my mother has disciplined me when I was younger, and she would say, go to your room. And you knew better, because if you didn't do it, you already knew. You didn't need to be told that she had lost it. She'd lost her cool with you, and you better go to that room. And don't say anything as you're getting up to move it. Right? Or how about this one? When the teacher, for some of us, and let's be admit it, have been at school, and you and the teacher get into it, and they say, go to the principal's office right now, or they throw you out of the classroom. Because we all weren't very well behaved. And if it never happened to you, it never happened to me. I can really say that, but I've watched a lot of kids that I went to school with, because they keep trying, and the teacher just loses it. How many of you have witnessed that? So back to the imaginary. What peaceful place, what calming place did you go to? Sometimes when we have told our children or we have been told to go to our rooms, you know why the parents are doing that? Because they need a timeout from you. They've lost their cool, and you better watch out. Sometimes we need to understand within ourselves that we need a timeout. We're so busy sending our kids to timeout, but we have to think about when it's timeout for us. When you're overwhelmed, remove yourself, step away, take a walk, go to that quiet space. Why are you doing that? Because that's mindfulness. We say, let's count. I'm going to count starting from 10 backwards to help me get my mind focused. I've tried it a handful of times. By the time I'm at 7, I'm still mad. So that doesn't work for me. You get it? Some things are different strokes for different folks. So what do we have to do? Going back to the woman that bothered me and pulled me out of or I could have allowed her to pull me out of my safe space or peaceful place. Did I have empathy for her? Not at the moment, because I realized, why is she even bothering me? Why is she bothering me? But then as the week went on, I began to think about perspective, looking into, having a look-see without knowing that woman, understanding her, without even knowing her. You ever saw people, this is another fun exercise, when they're driving, and I ask that you think about this. There used to be a time when you would pull up next to them. You probably don't feel as comfortable pulling up next to a person and looking into their car because people really are dealing with the challenge of losing their cool even if you look at them the wrong way. But back in the day when things were a lot less calmer, you could see the expressions on people's faces. Going to work early in the morning, you look over, and that man or that woman has a scowl on their face. How many of you have seen stuff like that? Or maybe they're looking at you and you got a scowl on your face. Did you hear the words, it's early in the morning? What have you got to be mad about at 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock in the morning? It's humorous, but even from that time to that time, people have gone through a lot. A police officer once said to me, while we were in conversation, just having a social conversation, and he said to me, people take for granted how we feel as police officers, and granted, police officers, some have really gotten a bad rap. Because why? They lose their cool. He gave it this illustration and he said, one night, and this is a true story, guys, they had been called out. It was a Halloween night, and a kid had been killed. So they're over there, they're doing the investigation, and investigations take a long time. It's no easy thing. If it happens, you just don't take the call and investigate it. You investigate, and that can take all night to the next night. He said after they went on this call and did their work, they went to gas up their patrol car. And they were at a gas station. And people that you see at that time, it's early in the morning, they don't even know what you have just been through. As I am telling you that story, I was just told that story just yesterday. To hear that from a professional, you've got to say, wow, they get a lot of bad rap. And some of them have done some awful things. But many of them are being retrained. Retrained. Because they are under stress. They lose their cool. When even then, they need this podcast. We're going to be right back because we need to take a break. Okay? Yeah. We're going to be back with Trisha's Treasures. We'll be right back. And so I ask you today, as we are going to be facing our lions or challenges of the week, what did you face this week that was challenging? Facing the lions, facing the lions. We're back. And we're going to Trisha's Treasures. Trish?
So I like to work out. There's a bird at my window. I like to work out, and I realized that the feeling of working out and getting angry is kind of similar. Like they give us the same cardio and the same um excessive sweating, and it feels like you ran a mile, feels like you ran a marathon when you get angry and you're all worked up. And something interesting my brother told me, because he's in the military, he told me that when they are in a lineup and they're marching and doing their morning routine, he says sometimes you get mad because you're marching all day and then you're just like, can we please have a halt? Can we please stop? And he's like, it's very relieving when the officer says that they can stop. They can, fall out, which means they can take a rest. They can loosen up. And He said that one time there was someone in the lineup that decided to fool around, play around, and all of them had to suffer the consequence of that person. So they had to do 100 push ups. And so they got to the ground, did 100 push ups. And so my brother, he was like, I'm already mad because we got to do it and it's hot. I'm already upset about that. And he said while they were doing the push ups, the further he got into doing the push ups, he was like, I'm not even angry anymore. I just want it to stop. I just want it to come to a halt. I just want it to like end. Please. I want to fall out. I want to rest. And so I realized that, I feel like that when I'm worked up, when I'm angry and I need to calm down. Sometimes when I'm angry, um, the adrenaline is rising, and then it comes to a point where we call it crash out now. Okay, that means getting angry or losing ourselves or losing it or losing our cool. Okay, so when I feel like that, sometimes I'm so worked up that I'm like, I'm the T on the halt. It's like I'm tired. I don't feel like getting mad today. It's just, it's just too much work. It's too much going on right now, and it's like I'm too tired to be mad at you. I would like for us to skip the process of yelling and screaming and possibly like getting a little physical. We can skip that, guys. We can go to the we can go to the I'm sorry. You're right. Let's act on this a little better next time, okay? Let's hug it out. Sometimes I'm too tired. I'm just like, can we skip to the good part, please? Can we skip to that? And I talked about that in my Trish's Treasures about how we have unfinished conversations about how when we have those unfinished conversations and we want to skip to the part where we don't talk about it, oh, okay, cool, that's fine. We don't have to talk about it. Goodbye. And it comes to the point where we get triggered. We get angry because we haven't addressed that conversation. We haven't addressed the things that we are upset about or the things that bother us or the things that worry us, because worrying makes us overwhelmed and it makes us triggered and it makes us uh, get angry or irritated. It happens. That's how it happens. And sometimes we have to sometimes we have to think about what makes us calm, what makes us um, feel stress less. And when we were doing the exercise earlier and we had to think about our peaceful place. My peaceful place, it changed, okay? Because usually my peaceful place used to be in my backyard when I was younger, at our old house where the sun is shining under the tree, the oak tree, and that was my peace. And now my peaceful place was in a room and the sun is shining through the curtain like it's a beautiful beam of sunlight shining through the curtain. The floor is wooden and around the walls are like a light a light brown, like when you put too much cream in your coffee, that color. And and there's the piano, a Yamaha piano in front of me, and I'm just sitting on the bench and just staring at the sun in the window, and I can feel the warmth in that peaceful place. And like we discussed about counting, sometimes counting doesn't work for people. Like my peaceful place changed. Okay? Sometimes and that's okay. That people's peaceful place changes. What used to calm you down, it doesn't do that anymore, and that's okay because we all change as people. But uh yeah, so when you're in that losing your cool state of mind. I hope you find what your peace is, and I hope you find something that keeps you calm when you are losing your cool.
Face my eyes, face my eyes. You want more of Trisha's treasures? Go to our YouTube page, click the button, and there you will find Trisha's treasures. Brought to you by Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. In a wrap, let's think for a moment. In a wrap, everyone loses their cool sometimes. But here's the question. What did you learn from that? How did you respond? Did you think about your emotions or your feelings at that time? Did you halt? Oftentimes, halt does mean stop, but it's a pausing as well. May it be ours to challenge ourselves this day and forevermore to think about keeping calm and stay cool. You want to be a cool kid, a cool person, challenge yourself. Because you no doubt can save a life. You no doubt can have somebody say, wow, I was really mean to that person. And I feel so bad that I was so mean to that person. And most of all, you're going to be able to tell your experience. We want to make a side note for you all for the Healing Center. The Healing Center has been open since January 2025. You're all welcome. You can get on video if you need to. Reach out to us. If you're in a crisis, we have the crisis hotline, one where they will get you to real professionals. We have resources for that. And the crisis hotline is it 899, Trish?
No, it's 988.
I get that wrong. Trisha's going to include that in our subject matter. And for all of you that are not realizing, we are live. Anytime you want to be live with us, all you have to do is follow our page on Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast here on Facebook. But in order for you to know that we're on, please follow and like. And set up your notification because every time we're here live, you're going to be here with us. And even if you want to talk about something, just because we talked about it today doesn't mean that it's unfinished conversation or that we've finished the conversation. That's why we have an 800 number. Maybe you're not going to hear this live today. Maybe you're going to hear it tonight. Leave your comments and questions. We love to talk about it. And by the way, we did finally set up our Vibe Talk Facing the Lion at gmail.com. You can also write to us. We do not write or give any entertainment to anyone that's trying to scam. You know the letters. I'm a doctor from Africa. And then you start to listen to the story, and at the bottom it's scam. We are not going to give you any radio play. That Gmail is for people that really were touched or people that had an experience. You never have to tell us your name. We read them online unless you specify this is private and I want to keep it private. We want to ask you something. Do you accept the challenge, today's challenge of keep calm and stay? You've been with Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. We are recording and we thank you so much. I want to say thank you to all of you, and especially do I want to thank my right hand person, Trish. Thank you so much for all that you do. You guys do not realize how hard that we are working to help you help someone. Feel free to call, give us feedback on what you like, what you heard, what you don't like, and share it with a friend. Because we're finding out before we close, I want you all to be aware of something, that we're not just sitting in a room talking amongst each other. We have reached far and wide so many people. Just for instance, Trisha and I, we were talking and we've reached, and it just makes me want to cry because we don't take anything for granted. United States, Germany, South Africa, Ukraine, Netherlands, Bangladesh, Canada, um, the United Arab Emirates. I have no idea where that is. Greece, Australia, Russia, United Kingdom, Argentina, Bulgaria. Wow. So we know you're listening. And when you are listening, let us know where you're listening from. It just wows me that this podcast has touched so many people, even if it's 1% in these areas, because it gives someone hope. It gives someone one more day. It gives someone the light at the end of the tunnel that they may have needed. It gives someone something to think and talk and feel about. And as you know, good news travels fast. So we thank our audience. Happy Friday. I'm hoping that you're going to take this challenge. We'll see you right back here the next time. And don't forget, you'll be with me on Saturday nights, 8:30, or excuse me, 8 p.m. Sometimes we don't do it live, but you can still listen to us right on our YouTube page. You can even request songs. You can even send letters of dedication, request who you want to shout out to. We'll do that for you selectively because, as you know, we're human. We're not going to be able to read everything on air. But Trisha and I will sit down every other Wednesday and we will go through what we think people should hear. And we're going to read the letters, but it may not get on the airwaves. So keep listening and spend an hour with me as your host for Vibe Talk After Dark radio station or radio live. And let me just say that the new format that we have, because some social medias, they don't want you to play the music. Why that is, I don't know. Okay, because we're not looking for money for that. If you want to donate, you can always donate to the Healing Center. We will take it. But here's our thought. We know that music has a place of healing, and I know that because I listened to Trish, and boy, does her music heal. Go find out all about that. We'll be back here at 11 o'clock for those of you who are wondering what happened to our group sessions that started back up, and it will start up today. So if you're online, come join us. We'll be there. We thank you. Have a good day and a great weekend. Don't forget about Vibe Talk After Dark Radio show, which has its own page, guys. And the more people that get on there, we can do it directly from our radio page. So please support in that way. Thank you, Trish, for being so amazing. Thank you to the audience once again. Whatever you're doing, be willing to take the challenge that works for you and moves you in a very positive way. We'll see you back here. Thank you so much. Facing my eyes, facing my eyes. Change is hard for me because I'm not focused on me. So what do you need to change about that? You need to focus on yourself. How do we do that? We don't become blind to everything around